Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lucky Dog Podcast. This is your host, Elias. Today we are talking about Season 2, Episode 1 of AMC's Humans. So, I've previously talked about Humans Season 1, roughly 2 hours, 2.5 hours in depth with mostly myself, but also I had Kelly join in as well. She was watching the show behind the scenes and joined in on the last podcast. I wanted to cover season 2 because I mean it's a pretty interesting show. It captured my attention in season 1, so it had some high lofty goals to hit, and most of them were overall achieved, but I think most of it was in part due to the acting. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Starting off with season 2, it opens up with Niska and a new individual who we do not have the name of in front of me at the moment, but they are having kind of intimate relations, and it appears that Niska has run off with the hard drive and has the AI information. At the beginning, Niska is starting to learn what it feels like to become in a relationship, and specifically I think one with a woman, because I don't know if she's ever been in a relationship with a woman. So it was a pretty interesting way to start grasping the LGBTQ community. Sorry if I forgot one of those letters, but essentially they're trying to capture a larger demographic, and so I thought this was a great way to do it. Let's see. I don't know if I think it might be Astrid, might be the name of the lady that she's currently with. But let's continue on. I generally enjoyed what was going on with the beginning of the show. Season 2 was a little bit just as gripping as season 1 at the beginning. I remember season 1 being pretty stellar at the beginning, just hot, interesting camera views, very nice cinematography, and very similar, even better in season 2. Plus, they have two really interesting characters who we at least have some sort of background on one, and the other one seems to play well with the other one. And so I thought it was, I enjoyed their interaction, especially when she was talking about just liking other, I think she says talking about liking other women and stuff like that, and they just have good conversation, and they work well as like an on-screen little couple. Unfortunately, it doesn't last too long because Niska is she's cold, and she's got to go, release the hounds. She's got to go release the code that will make bots sentient. So essentially she ends up doing that by the end of the first half of within the first 5 minutes, I believe. She's looking for it, looking for signs of consciousness in these bots, and it doesn't appear that it's worked. After she's condoned, after she set the launch codes or whatever to make them conscious, so they do cut away to a guy at a mining shaft company, a Hispanic guy, and it looked like he the way they showed him coming back conscious was really cool. Just with the eyes and checking out the hands and stuff like that. It was, he was like, "What the hell am I doing here?" And he was, he's branded and stuff like that. It was, it's like whoa, and then you see the other bots and how they have to act in very uniform and a line as he's leaving. It's just, it looks cool the way he looks like he's being relieved, kind of going into the light. But unfortunately, that character does not last very long. We find that out later. this was a good place to put the title, showing sentient robots coming to life, and I believe they have changed the title as well. It looks like a lot of the same type of technology and clips that they were showing originally. It's a little bit weirder, a little bit more DNA and humans interacting with the robots, which makes it interesting. And it appears that they have at least some sort of what might be the bad guy of the series placed within the title of the show, so it could make it much more interesting to watch. It might be a useful title. If we're gonna have a long title, at least make it a useful title. And so I think that they're at least going with that route. So it appears that season 2 is already taking many steps forward that season 1 didn't grasp a hold of originally. So just continuing on, the show starting with the family. I wasn't too happy about, but it's not as bad as I thought, because I really enjoyed how they were bringing bots and showing how bots can actually help humans learn new occupations. And so that when they were renovating the house, they showed that, and I was like, okay. So they end up explaining that they moved to a new place because I believe they're trying to downsize for the daughter. And we also see as we continue on in the episode, the pretty much the only scene with the daughter, she's watching something that talks about it's what appears to be the bad guy of the series. I'm just going to call him the bad guy of the series until we figure out who he is and what he's about. But I'm trying to find his name right now. Milo Curry. So let's say Milo Curry looks like he might be an evil, I don't know, Bill Gates or something like that. So it appears that she's aware of who he is and what the relevance is in this world for him is. I wonder what it is, especially how it pertains to her. I guess they might have just wanted to show her coding or something like that. I don't know. So the family is looking for a relatively fresh start because of, I guess, just last season was a lot to handle, the whole Anita thing and all that, and the husband kind of doing some rapey shit with it. But I really enjoyed seeing how the family is progressing and aging. Normally, as these type of shows go, if you have a younger if you have kids in the show, they're naturally going to grow, and so it's really cool to see how the children are growing along with the television show. I can't remember their youngest daughter's name at the top of my head. I'm so terrible with names because they don't seem to care too much to talk about who they're... Sophie is growing up, and it's really cool. You can see her kind of blossoming, and it's really it's sweet. So as as we move along, we get to see how Anita is in some sort of shop. I can't remember exactly where the shop is located, but she is currently being paid, and it looks like for a fair amount. She's doing things that a normal bot would do. And well, it appears that the guy that she's working for might have... I thought he was originally going to be douche, and I had no idea if he was going to be a nice guy or not. Really, really difficult to tell just based off it. I don't know, it might have been the earring or something like that. Maybe I'm generalizing or something like that. I don't know. It's probably bad. Just didn't get the good vibes I would have expected, but I hope he's not a bad guy. It looks like he respects her, and that's it's a good thing. This guy is Sam Palladio, and he plays Ed. And I like Ed. Ed's not a bad guy. He seems fair, and fair is good in this world. I also wanted to comment on something as right after Anita is paid and walks off into separate ways with from Ed. She walks off, sees a robot. She has to continue to put on the robot act and act just accordingly until she gets into a place of where she's alone, and she can actually stop staring out in space like a robot spacing out. She can breathe. She doesn't have to keep her back arched completely straight. It is sorry, I said arched. Her back straight completely. Like, she can be human, and it's phenomenal how this actress can go from acting just I say subhuman, but it's acting straight like a synth to acting like an actual person, and it's day and night, and it's a phenomenal job. I didn't comment on it enough, but she does a great job just expressing it. Just I didn't realize it was breathing that really distinguished the difference in robots and humans. Like, if you look at the robots and stuff, they aren't breathing, or they're not taking deep breaths. The actors aren't, and so naturally their clothes aren't moving up and down. But when Anita shows that she's taking a breath for the first time, it looks like it just like is a breath of fresh air. It's amazing, and it feels good just to watch it too. And it actually made me realize the other type of robots and what they're trying to accomplish with what it means to be human. One of the many things it means to be human. And it seems that one of the first things that it means to be human is that they check out their hands. They showed the next lady. She is in Verso chemical plant, and she is just carrying a regular barrel full of chemicals ready to be squicked on somebody or anything. And the first thing she does, she drops this in the Verso chemical plant in Nottingham, if that's relevant at all. But the first thing she does is she drops the bucket of chemicals and looks at her hands, and I thought that was really interesting because it's the same thing that the Raphael guy did. I think that was his name, in the oil mine shaft or whatever. Sorry, Raphael was the actor. His name is Tin. Tin is the guy that was found in the mine shaft, and is eventually. Does anyone think that this lady looks exactly? Sonia Cassidy looks exactly like who plays Hester looks exactly like Amy Adams. This is like straight up Amy Adams. I might have to just call her Amy Adams for this because she could play her sister. She could play I don't know. Is she related to her? I don't know. I don't see anything. Is a black belt in Taekwondo. Well, she could kick my ass. That's either way. So I might have to start calling her Sonia Cassidy. But yeah, I thought it was great to see her come to life, and unfortunately she had to see the terrible things that they were doing to the other robots, or not the terrible things they were doing to the robots, just terrible things that happened to the robots. I think she was looking down at the bottom of the chemical plant basement, and she found some bots that were just inoperable or just not moving or had been damaged, and a man came up and she pushes him back. I think this is one of the first times we've seen some sort of contact between the humans and the robots, and just how easy it was for a human to be knocked down. And that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see more of that in the first season, just what kind of power these robots actually have, and how smart they can be, because I think it was underutilized how smart robots actually are. I think that they think 10 times, to say they think 10 times faster than us is an understatement. So just think about that in a fight. So that would be crazy. But I enjoyed seeing seeing Sonya Cassidy, who's playing, what is her name? Hester? Hester? Okay, so, yeah, Hester. I thought that, again, Sonya Cassidy's phone, the UI technology, user interface, looks hella outdated. Somebody please get some Apple phones in there. They just need to get sponsored by them or something. They just look more timeless with the way they look as of right now, just because it still looks like they're using really old technology. Continuing on, we have the creepy therapist. So the couples, the main family, go to therapy. Of course, that's what we want to see. That's what I was asking for all first season. I wanted to see a therapy session between the the father and the mother, Joe and Laura. Basically, I was not prepared for this. I had to rewind and check this out again. But so their original therapist was not there, but they had what they called a Barbara, quote unquote, bot therapist. And I thought one of the more interesting things about this was, one, she was creepy as hell at first, but on top of that, she she played a bot to the T. She was an extra bot. Whatever bot they gave her like negative personality, because I thought that she was giving the extra creepy vibes. But still fantastic. She kind of gave like stilted movements, and the way she would carry her eyes, and I don't know, the Laura and Joe's reaction to talking to her just is amusing, because they don't take her seriously. And the cool thing is about the bot is that it's very self-aware that it's a bot to an extent, like when it's talking to to Joe specifically. Like Joe says, "You don't really know much about us," that type of thing. What can you do to help us? You don't have any emotions of your own. And basically, she just runs down statistics and analyses of other couples and stuff like that. But if you think about it, when they're finished up at the end of the therapy session, it sort of works, and it's interesting. It's a possible look into the future, and that I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Going along with the next few scenes, with Hester finding the individuals, the rest of the guys. I think it's Leo and Max, and I don't know if anyone else comes. Leo and Max are basically, well, first of all, Leo got a haircut. We gotta talk about that. I'm not so sure. They should have done something a little different. Come on now. If they're trying to find the guy, put a hat on or something. I don't know. Isn't he like got a police warrant out for him or something like that? I don't know. But and I don't know how I feel about Leo's little back twitch thing. He's like kind of hunching over. Doesn't really make much sense to me, but because he seems to do it whenever he's been questioned about something, or when he's trying to be the Rick Grimes of the group or something like that. I don't know. So they also, Leo and Max introduced them to 10, played by Raphael. Raphael Aklik. Oh God, I definitely fucked that up. I'm sorry about that, bud. But Raphael did a great job playing 10 for the 10 seconds. 10 for the 10 seconds he was on screen. But why did you have to kill the Hispanic guy? There's no Hispanic people on the show, and you killed the first one you have on there. Okay, sure. I'm assuming he's Hispanic. But they need that representation, and I find that important. And I'm not sure if it was smart to kill him immediately. And yes, I am just randomly saying that he might be Hispanic. I'm pretty sure he is of some descent. Considering he's only speaking Spanish, which doesn't make much sense to me in my personal opinion. Why did C-3PO know like 50 different languages off the top of his head, but Raphael, modern day bot, I guess, considering a modern day bot only knows like one? Like my phone, my Alexa knows more than he does. I don't understand why he's speaking Spanish. It doesn't make sense to me at all. Doesn't need to be that. He says he's also attracted to the word radiator. Okay, that didn't really seem to be anything. We'll see if that becomes anything. And so Hester is eventually found by a couple of individuals who I believe own her. And Leo's saying, they're trying to hurt you, that type of thing, and the other people are saying Leo just wants you for the black market. So it's a pretty sticky situation, but I guess Max ultimately convinces her to come through and stay with their own kind, if that's what I think that's what he says. But those robots are a lot stronger than humans, so I'm not really sure all what they could have done anyway. But it does appear that not 10 seconds later, Raphael is taken out as they're running away. It's just disappointing. Like you showed them, and I understand they have to create stakes, but the lady is shooting at their feet when they're leaving, and then shoots at the tail end of a van from like 100 yards away. And she had a headshot on the robot. Are you kidding me? So, it didn't make sense to me. I mean, they clearly just wanted to have someone on there to kill right off, and they said, let's put a Hispanic guy on there, and then we can capture the Hispanic market too. So, I guess you put him on there. I guess that counts. Whatever, it doesn't count to me. But I also enjoyed that there was some sort of stakes to get them out of there. I'm glad they just didn't let them walk off, because they would probably be taken down anyway. Robots that were going to do their own thing, on their own accord, just probably will be taken down if that ever does happen. So next scene, the main course is Anita helping with the finances and tax information of Ed, and he's very curious about her and stuff like that, and he just seems to be a nice guy. He's not as douchey as I was expecting, and Anita likes him apparently, which is what Kelly says. Kelly says that Anita has strong feelings for him strictly because he's a nice guy, and he's not like all the other men that have been in her life, which would make sense from a narrative standpoint. I know soon I think it's gonna be like episode 3 3 or 4 when he finds out she's got a conscience, and they might even end up, and you gotta watch out for him. He might be someone that could be on the target list, of the AI corporations that want to kill people. So he may be on top 5. We lose this season. So we'll put Ed at the top. I think we should put. I'm gonna say most of the females are safe so far. We haven't said too much, but we're gonna put Ed on the chart because he's in danger. But anyways, Anita has to explain how wanting something was the wrong word, and when helping him with his taxes. And Ed, I guess, buys it. He's like, sure, I'm sure it's just a bot. And he looks slightly disappointed as well. Um, so the next scene, we go to Joe, getting ready to get served up a fresh cup of unemployment. I'm sorry, that was bad. But seriously, he literally gets taken off by a synth. He's being replaced by a synth, just as his wife felt like she was being replaced at home in first season. So I was talking to Kelly in the end of the season 1 wrap up cast, that they could be switching sides about what they believe synth's place should be in the world. He originally was really for it, and she was really against it, and now it's the kind of tables have been turned. So Joe's being served up right now by his boss. So he basically they run down the same things that that Anita says in the first season. I think she says, I can be a better mother to you because I don't forget, I don't get angry. I'm perfect in 100 different ways where you aren't, although I can't love. So very similarly to how Joe is losing his job, the bot can essentially explain the same things because he's just much more proficient. But yeah, it's good, and it adds to the world building, and I like it. So we'll continue with it. The next scene, they remove one of the GPSs from Hester's I guess neck or something like that, which I don't even know if that would be possible. I don't feel like just removing a little thing from your neck would be able to make you untrackable or something like that. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just I don't know. I think they would be tied in with some sort of network or something like that, and it just would be impossible to not be tracked in some sort of manner. But in this next episode, in this next scene, they are kind of tussling around with the bad guy, one of the bad guys they got, and then it shifts to Niska and Astrid, I believe, having one of their final moments together, I believe. I enjoyed them for the most part, but it started to become a little bit wondrous, like I'm not sure how much time we should be spending with Astrid. Like, if we only see Astrid this first episode, I'm gonna feel like we haven't been spending our time wisely this first episode. We've only kind of been seeing Niska and only one relationship she's building. I would like to see Astrid become a part of the main integral story. So let's hope that happens. Let's see. Basically, Niska is still trying to pretend to be a human, and I don't know if Astrid's never been with a UI or a synth or something like that. But the fact is, wouldn't they all have the same charging port? So you would know where to look for a charging port if it was a bot, and wouldn't that be the first thing you would check? If you were with someone and you even thought that for half a second. So I don't know. It just it's hard to believe that you wouldn't check immediately. Next scene, we roll over to looks like doctor, but I don't know if this is a doctor. I think this is probably a scientist or tech specialist or something like that. Let me see. I think this is the famous Carrie Ann Moss playing Dr. Athena Morrow. And so we're going to call her Dr. Morrow. She has a piece of technology, I think, that has sentience, and awareness of itself. And she says that she needs more power to, I guess, create whatever she's creating. Let's hope this is somewhere where we want to continue watching this plot line, because we're not getting much. A little bit later, a man walks in. We'll go ahead and talk about the man walking in into her office. It's actually Milo Sack, because I think he's a sack. No, what is his name again? We're gonna have to recall his name. Anyways, Milo comes into her office and is kind of being, I don't know, a little bit cocky. You can just tell he's kind of full of himself, and I don't know what it is about him, but he just kind of needs to be punched in the face. Milo Curry. So he comes in and he's trying to big shot himself, and he basically is just talking about the main parts of what she's doing there, and she's saying that you're not welcome to have this technology, but he wants her to join his company, I believe, and I believe he just wants to make it all make whatever she's doing marketable and sell it to more people and stuff like that. Neutral nets were something they were discussing, but I think he primarily wants artificial intelligence with complete consciousnness, and it appears that Miss Morrow might have the key. So we have to look out for her. We're gonna put her, Milo gets number one. He just looks like he needs to get. Carrie Ann Moss might be too expensive to have on the show, so we'll keep her number two. She might be the William Hurt of the season. And speaking of William Hurt, we have not heard or seen from him. So I'm kind of worried that we're not going to have any more of him. He was great. Anyways, Niska and Astrid break up a little bit earlier, or a little bit later, and it sucks for Astrid, because Niska just turns cold-hearted all of a sudden, just hello, goodbye, and we'll see you. And that's basically all that was. They smash cut to the guys, Anita, Max, Hester, and Leo all discussing the plans of what, basically where this is headed. And Anita says we need to be around. She likes to be around people, and she's kind of observing people, humans specific, I guess, and just interaction. Leo doesn't have much faith in humanity, and I think that's actually something that they discuss, but it's very clear that he's not the hopeful one. I enjoyed the interaction between Max and Hester when they are discussing emotions and how they work in our world, and Hester's lack of reaction just is impressive. I just would really like to know all of the criteria. They tell them: stern face, don't breathe, this, that, the other, hold your hands out. What do they tell them specifically to make themselves turn into a robot? Because it's kind of cool. It really defines the different perspectives of being a robot, because there's so many different I was gonna say hierarchies of consciousness. It seems that like the highest you can be is like a Max or a Anita, but then on the lower end would be like a Hester, where she's just now finding out, that she's conscious and able to have these thoughts and should emote feelings. So as it continues, Dr. Morrow and Mr. Curry meet at his office or at his business or something like that. And he is showing her one of the bots that have had some of this crazy behavior going on. When I say crazy, I mean conscious behavior. And just the visuals of where the guy is being held are amazing. This is the type of stuff I wanted to see in first season. It looks, high tech. It looks smart, sophisticated, and like what the show needs to have. Now, I can't stop looking at Mr. Curry's face. Like, I gotta punch him straight in the throat. Like, he looks like such a douche. But it might be Carrie Ann Moss that she might be just as bad. You never really know when she's on screen, because she can play both sides of the fence really well, good and bad. So she is going to be doing operations on the operation. She's going to be. It's not an is it an operation? What do you call taking apart a person or a robot that looks like a person? And are they? The thing is about this show is we don't really know what the insides look like too much. I guess did they say it's exactly like a human? I don't believe that's the case. I really enjoy how Westworld portrays how the robots are created and have evolved over time, which is something that humans is lacking severely. Which I don't know if they even care right now. They don't seem to care as much about the technical aspects about how these robots work, as much as they care about the social aspects and implications of having them in our world. So the one of the few final scenes is Joe talking to his family about losing his job and stuff like that, and it's difficult for the family to kind of watch him as a father kind of deteriorate. It all started with the synth last year, and everything's never been the same. But ever since you put dick in the washer, I'm just kidding, but the washing machine, you fucked up, you dumb fucked up, and you never apologize. That's the worst fucking thing. That's what makes it worse for the audience to watch this guy, because he's kind of a dope. He's just kind of a dope, and just really uninteresting on many levels. One of the final scenes have Laura and Joe answering the door at 4:30 a.m. Like, what the fuck is going on? Someone's ringing the doorbell, and it is Niska, and she says she wants to be tried for the murder that she did. She wants to be tried as a human. So it's and she wants their help. A lot of different feelings on this. I don't know why they feel the need to have the family in this, except for maybe they want, as a family, they want you to watch this and kind of relate to either you being the pops or the mom or the daughter or the son. Just relate yourself to being in this world. So that would make the most sense to have this family in it. But they're not totally interesting enough as a family to continue on with. To have the AI technology, to have the robots, in sense, interacting with them. There's no need to have them part of the story, which is kind of a shitty thing. I almost wish Anita was still in the house, and maybe even still not as conscious as she was. Maybe she shouldn't gain full consciousness until the very end of the first season, because it would allow them to keep the family intact. I know this is retroactive thinking and everything, but in writing, but I feel them grasping at straws to keep the family in this show. So we'll see how they do. We'll see if I didn't think any of them. Was the mom a lawyer or something like that? Maybe. I'll have to check into that, and we'll go along with that. Overall, First episode was really good. I thought it was above most of the Humans episodes that we've watched. It did a great introduction, great world building. There was better editing. It was a little bit faster. I I am interested. I'm interested to see how these other AI with consciousness come to life and what they do. It's cool to see the robots and other people saying, "Why is a robot looking at birds or doing his own thing or not doing his job?" And seeing them stop and go out of fall out of place has been really interesting. You can think of like the 10 in the mine shaft, or Hester breaking out. There's these small little breakout scenarios that are really cool. So, and we also have people shooting at them too. So, evidently, we got a little bit of danger. Um, I hope they have some decent action coming up in the next few episodes, because I think that this show needs some high stakes action going on. Doesn't always have to be, just a little something. And shot well. So we'll see how it shapes out. I appreciate everyone listening. We have the first season available on YouTube. Share, subscribe, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Twitter us at LuckyDogPodcast. Email us at TheLuckyDogPodcast at gmail.com. Anything else, you let me know. Until then, have a good one.